I could never give up on God after what he has done for me. Today, and 4 years ago, I had my beautiful baby girl. So 2017, I got married, got pregnant after I got married, back to medical school because I was in medical school at this time. At week 17, I had a miscarriage. The most devastating thing that has ever happened to me in my life was that. Then now, 2018, I got pregnant again. Now from the miscarriage, I kind of looked back and I learned and I said, you know what? I believe that this miscarriage happened because I had an incompetent cervix, meaning my cervix just wasn't holding tight. It was a little loose. It was open based on the pressure from the uterus and the baby getting big. It would just give way. So I said, taking matters into my own hands, I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a cerclage. I'm making this decision. I'm taking these decisions into my own hands. This girl is getting a cerclage. By week 5, I started to have spotting, started to bleed. So you know, say we start to go through this whole whirlwind now of emotions. Oh my gosh, this is another miscarriage. What is it? Anyways, ended up in the hospital. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anybody. Just my husband and I knew. And Gozel, who was there with me, that I was in the hospital in Ukraine while in med school. While in the hospital now, everything was okay, but my cervix was still not closing how it's supposed to. It was a little bit, you know, open, ajar. From there, I started to get meds to try and help to maintain the pregnancy. But baby was fine. Come out of first trimester, going into second trimester now. I'm like, I need this cerclage. The doctors are like, well, you need to have 2 miscarriages before you are seen to have a risk of incompetent cervix or, you know, at risk of having miscarriages. We're not going to give you a cerclage just like that. You know, you don't meet the criteria. I know that's medically correct, but I'm like, fam, listen to me. No, I need a cerclage. And I was so persistent. And they said, we're not going to give you a cerclage, but we're going to give you a pessary. All right. Got the pessary. It's a silicone rubber that they put around the cervix to kind of hold it up. Now, because it was my final year, the baby was supposed to come. It was around the same time. We hadn't gotten the exam date yet, but it was around the same time as my final exam to leave med school. However, there was an American exam being held in the capital of Ukraine, which was Kiev. And if I did this exam and passed, I would have been able to not sit out the final exam. So I'm like, the truth is I'm pregnant and I want to be able to have my baby and finish med school. I don't want one to interfere with the other, and I'm gonna do them both. My roommate and I, we went all the way to the other city, flew, pessary in and everything. I'd done an ultrasound before I left and all was well. It was around 25 weeks of pregnancy now. So we're going to 3rd trimester, fine. Went to the other city. It was cold, it was winter, it was terrible. I remember I was sick, I had a cough, coughing down the place. I had the flu. Finished the exam, fly back on the plane, come back. Listen, I was big belly. Yeah, fly back, everything. When I came back, I had another ultrasound to do, like the next day or so. I had a 1 day or 2 days after that. I'm 26 weeks now, and I go to do my ultrasound, and you know, the ultrasound tech is asking me what I've been doing, and I told her, you know, I was sick, I've been coughing, because people who have pelvic floor issues, meaning they can't hold their urine or they can't hold their poo properly because the pelvic floor is falling out. If they cough or sneeze or laugh, anything that increases your intra-abdominal pressure, you know, that squeezes the inside of your belly, basically can allow you to poo yourself or even flatulate. I was there coughing, increasing my intra-abdominal pressure with my little cervix that can barely hold. And I told her about that. And she just looked at me. She didn't say anything. Like a good radiologist, you don't say anything. You just do your thing. You give the doctor the reading, they will interpret it. Or you call them and you let them know what you saw. What I knew from this sonographer, she was one of the best in Ukraine. Especially the city where I lived, she was the best. Everybody told me that. I had no problems with her. She was good. So she was just asking a lot of questions this visit. And she didn't tell me anything. She just said, if anything, you'll hear from your doctor. Which she would always say, so I didn't see anything. Like, she's like, your doctor will tell you at the next visit or whatever. I go home and I remember this clearly. I'm laying in my bed. My phone rings. I see that my doctor is calling me and I'm like, why is my doctor calling me? That's strange, because She doesn't call me like that. She's like, you need to go to the hospital now because your cervix is short and open. No, being open wasn't a big deal because I've been open the whole time, but it was the width now was opening further, because even though it was open before, it was consistently at the same place. It wasn't moving or whatever. What's happening now is that it's opening wider and it's shortening, meaning it's like I'm going into labor. So they're like, we're gonna attempt to do the cerclage. Now, if you know anything about that, the shorter the cervix, the harder it is. You want the cervix to be long so you can catch it and sew it, right? It's like you have a piece of fabric. You want as much fabric as possible to sew. It's shortening, it's less. So when I went to the hospital, they were like telling me all the complications. You can go into labor, all of this, that can happen. Stressful times, people, stressful times. We were stressing down the place. So for the most part of this pregnancy, I was resting in my bed. Yes, I still went to school. In this pregnancy, it was very hard to rest because I was going to school. So I would go to school every day and I'm supposed to be on bed rest. When they said this, I couldn't even be shocked because I'm up and down when I should be resting. You understand what I mean? To get the cerclage, I was in good spirits. I really held on to God and I'm like, you're not gonna bring me this far and let this happen. Because even to do the American exam, that was insight from God right there, so that my pregnancy would happen and it wouldn't interfere with my final exams, meaning to be able to leave Ukraine and finally be done. Long and short of it all, they put in the cerclage. The cerclage was put in beautifully and it held all the way until I gave birth. Now, I was induced because the cerclage was in, so they took out the cerclage and induced me. I went in 36 weeks. I was like, with all the complications and coming to the doctor so much, I want this baby out. O-U-T, come out. All right, baby come out now. Baby is well. 10 hours of labor. Baby is fine. All is well. Moving on. We're in the hospital. Again, because Sean and I are doctors, we were like, I know my blood group is O, his is B. We're gonna look out for jaundice secondary to ABO incompatibility, meaning our blood group not mixing, the baby getting her daddy's blood group, and our blood groups just not mixing. So our blood groups fighting against each other and causing jaundice, right? One thing you know, when a baby is born and the first 24 hours the baby has jaundice, that's usually a bad sign. That, my friends, is usually a bad sign. She had jaundice as she was born, but they checked it and they were like, it's not bad, it's okay. They told me what it was the first time, but they never told me what it was again after that. And I really wish I had taken down what it was the remaining days we were there. They were there for 3 days. So we're there now in the hospital for the 3 days. They kept taking her blood, sticking the child. Oh my gosh, it was really terrible. She was under the UV light. They sent me home to sun her, but it's winter time, so I can't sun her, so I don't know how that was supposed to work. I go home, they send me home with this baby. Nothing has changed. You know, babies, newborns, usually the first week or so, they're just sleeping. But I don't know. The 4th day I went home, I was home for a full 24 hours, but then by the 5th day I said, no, something is just bothering me. Like, you cannot stay home with this child. And I know it's God. I knew it was God talking to me and telling me something is wrong and I needed to act now. So I adhered to him. That's what I did. I called my husband and I said to him, you know, I just don't feel comfortable. I want to take the baby to the hospital. He's like, no, why? What happened? Even my roommate is like, I don't see anything wrong with her. I don't see any difference, whatever. I said, yeah, but I want to go to the hospital. You know, yeah, we're going. So we called the ambulance. Ambulance came for us. We went to the hospital. Where the nurse said, you are yellow, the baby is yellow, meaning we have different skin tones from white people. So she didn't see the big deal why I'm going on like that. And I said, well, all I want you to do, I want you to just take her blood, check the bilirubin, because this, I don't know why I thought that the bilirubin was so high or whatever. I can't tell you. I just was like, just check her out and let me know. Check her out. Listen, Usain Bolt could not have outrun this lady the way how she come round the corner so fast to grab up the child and was, come mommy, come, we have to take her to the NICU now. I'm like, what's happening? She's saying that basically the bilirubin levels are all the way up to brain damage level. And I'm like, what? You're kidding me. So all the time she was in the hospital, the bilirubin was going up. It didn't pass where, you know, it needed to pass, but it kept going up. So they should have expected it to continue going up. Either ways, she went to the NICU. They told me she might need blood transfusion. She got her fluids. The bilirubin came down. So she was in the NICU for 1 whole week, being stuck, being prodded. I know exactly what goes on in the NICU after having practiced. Anyways, then she came back to me, but we're still in the hospital because they needed to still give her UV light, and she was still, we were together, we could be together in a room in the hospital. Then they came to evaluate her 2 weeks later now, 2 weeks after she was admitted the first time. When they come to evaluate her, the IV access in her arm had given her an infection. People, and it's possible has gone to the bone, and they're telling me all of this, and she might need to lose the arm. People, but I just couldn't. Then no, I had a doctor that would never speak English to me. Even though he could speak English, he only spoke Russian, so it made it so difficult, and he was using the most complicated words. I don't know those words. So, you know, it was just a dreadful situation. However, we spent 2 more weeks, so 1 whole month she spent in the hospital. She came out, all was well, finally came home to Jamaica. Guys, today, May 8th, 2023, she is 4 years old. Who could it be but God? Healthy, happy, running up and down. Let me tell you something. When you have those motherly instincts, a lot of times it's the Lord speaking to you, telling you, go, do this. I was so persistent. First of all, for the pessary and the circlage, I wanted that. And I was so adamant. Don't let anybody dictate to you the care that you deserve and you need. I'm telling you. Yeah? Okay, I'm coming. Right? So all I'm going to say to you is be persistent. Continue to have your relationship with God. Listen to him when he talks to you and act on that. I'm just so grateful where we are right now. We are grateful for her life. God has been good. I'm just thankful, guys. I'm just thankful. A mother of a 4-year-old. Can you imagine? There's nothing that Jesus can't do for you. Whatever is done for me, he'll do for you and more. And that's how I get through trials, the trials that I'm facing, because I say, Lord, I know you're going to come through. You came through before and you're going to do it again. No matter what you're going through, Jesus is everything and he will come through for you. Maybe not in the way that you think or want, but he will come through. If you want to know how to strengthen your faith, and one of the things that we need in order to know that God is going to come through for us is definitely strengthening of our faith. And if you want to strengthen your faith, definitely go check out this video of mine. All right, see you at my next video.